Let's talk middleweight. At middleweight, we have a very clear champion. We have a champion that is so clear that it looks like he's going to have to go back through the division a second time. I mean, I got to tell you, Adesanya kicked some ass in record time. The mere fact of his short reign that he's now getting ready to do the rematch, which will lead into, with somebody else, the rematch, which if everything goes well, will lead into a rematch. Right? I mean, good job by Adesanya. But I do want to talk about that. I'm putting myself in his shoes, right, guys? The golden rule of life. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. How would you want to be treated? I do not believe that Adesanya wants to go and do these damn rematches as much as if these were his two options, the rematch or somebody new. That's my guess. And nobody has gotten that ring with Adesanya without Adesanya giving them the blessing. It is like no other champion in the UFC. If Adesanya does not vouch for you, you do not get in there with him. And the reason that Adesanya has been shown that respect by the office is Adesanya calls out the hardest possible guy. I mean, when he called out Yoel Romero, you have a skinny kickboxer from New Zealand's going to take on an Olympic medalist in wrestling from Cuba. He could not have called out a worse matchup. But because he did and took care of business, he gets a respect. You have to know that's part of the story, though. Because the rules of number one contendership are also unique to the division at a specific time. And right now, you're not getting in there with Izzy unless Izzy wants you in there with him. Why do I bring that up? Because we've got 3 matches signed right now. Okay? We've got Cannonier and Brunson. Neither of those guys should be disrespected any longer, and neither of those guys should be denied any longer. However, it's iron on top of iron, and one of them gets eliminated. That's very cold. So there's got to be an upside, which is whoever wins has something good needs to happen. Can we agree? All right. But we also have Vettori going to take on Paulo Costa. Now, that is just a fun fight. I cannot wait. There's a few that jump off the page at me. That one jumps off the page. I cannot wait for that contest to come around. It also, though, does make you wonder with Brunson, with Paulo Costa, and with Vettori, can they become number one contenders? Can they get the blessing of Adesanya when they're going to be a rematch at best? Vettori would be a third meeting. I think we can agree right for now that's not going to draw him. Paulo Costa and Izzy, as awkward and odd as that match, I mean, right, you got Izzy's opinion. I'm trying to guess what it would be. Brunson can't be denied forever, and Cannonier does have the blessing of Adesanya. Adesanya's actually said that. And it wasn't for the reasons you would think. It wasn't why Adesanya called out Yoel Romero. Izzy Adesanya got seated at a show that he was just a guest at next to Cannonier. They visited for the better part of the night, and Izzy liked him. Izzy goes, I like that guy. I like his story, and I respect him, and I would never take an opportunity from him. As a matter of fact, I would like to give him one. So right now, of all the guys that win, Cannonier, at least for that, right, for the pieces that I'm putting out there, Chael's number one contender. I think Cannonier's in a pretty good spot. I'm just not willing to concede. With a little bit of help. If Dana just flirted with this idea one time and put it out there, Luke Rockhold, Michael Strickland can come in and steal the show. Shining Rockhold up on his first one back and the return to the division. I get that needs some work and is unlikely. But if Rockhold does everything just right, has just the right showing, grabs just the right words in the post-fight interview, and gets the attention of Adesanya, it is definitely within the realm of possibility. It is far more reasonable than Vettori getting a win and going into it. It's far more interesting to Adesanya than having to go in there with Brunson a second time. I mean, Luke Rockhold is not a man without a country here. He's got a way to go. He's in the water. He needs a couple of life rafts to come in, but they're possible. Strickland, if he wins, will have 8 victories in a row. He will be the new guy. Strickland's fan base is growing faster than anybody's in the sport. Are you guys aware of that? Sean Strickland is one of the hottest commodities in MMA right now. And I'm not proclaiming for you he's the biggest draw. What I'm proclaiming is whatever draw he used to be 5 months ago, he's bigger now than any other gap that anybody else has made. Are you ready for that? So if Strickland goes out and gets a win over Luke, who is universally known within the sport and a former world champion, has his 7th win, represents new blood, it's an interesting match. It's a very interesting match. And if you ever can have good versus evil, there's no story easier to tell in the beginning of time. That's why every movie you see has a good and an evil every single time. This one would be organic, right? You got a good and you got a bad. It's going to be very organic. The story tells itself. I am not willing and I am never going to back down. I need help. Sure I do. I need Luke and Sean to start backing what I'm saying. I got to gain some steam to this, but I am not ready to look away. I am not ready to say anything other than Luke Rockhold and Strickland is possibly the #1 contenders match.